Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is another book review for the month of March. I'm doing it 2 days early because I simply will not be able to read any more books by then, and also I'm sick and I don't expect to get better by the start of April, so I'm just going to do it today while I have time. So the first book I read is okay. Also, I'm just gonna do these in the order that I read them, or that I remember that I read them, instead of like building it up the entire time. So, without further ado, first book I read, "Thus Spoke Zarathustra." Ooh. This was by Nietzsche. It's a philosophy book, and it is about this prophet named Zarathustra. It's pretty funny. I definitely liked the more towards the end of the book. There's lots of Christian references. For instance, in the beginning, he is in this town, and this tightrope walker falls off the tightrope and dies. And not Nietzsche, but Zarathustra picks up the tightrope walker, or the dead guy, and carries him on his back across his shoulders through the town while people are making jokes about him. Kind of sounds like a cross reference there. So lots of biblical references. It's pretty funny. He talks about how the ugliest man killed God because he couldn't have anyone knowing that he was so ugly. Yeah, it was very fun. I'm not sure if I got what Nietzsche wanted me to get, but it was very fun to read. I'd say 7 out of 10. Okay, after that, I believe I read Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. So this is another dystopian novel that I wanted to read. It's about a society where people are no longer born, instead they are bottled, kind of in a factory, and then they're conditioned a certain way. There's different castes of people within society, and each caste is very happy because they've been conditioned to be happy. Like the lowest class is happy that they don't have to do work that the upper class has to do. Like the middle class is very happy that they don't have to do the work that the lower class has to do or the upper class has to do. So it's very interesting how everyone in society is conditioned, and then it brings an element of the savage. For fun, some of the people in society go and visit the savages, which actually have mothers, and it's super funny in the book because they've been conditioned to think that the concept of a mother and father is disgusting. Yeah, there's also some very funny stuff, like they learn that kids didn't participate in erotic play in the past. What they do in this book, so it's very funny, and definitely would recommend it. This would be my favorite society to live in. If I had to live in a dystopian society, it'd be pretty awesome. So this one, probably 9 out of 10. Very good read. Alright. After that, I read Relativity by Albert Einstein. So this is his non-technical book on his theories of special and general relativity. Special relativity is awesome. Well, both of them are awesome, but I only understand special relativity. Yeah, once he got into general relativity, I was just like, I need to read this a few more times. But very cool explanation. He does a very good job of explaining special relativity. Maybe if I had a greater capacity, I'd be able to understand general relativity on the first read. But pretty good. Pretty good. I'd say 8 out of 10. Okay. After that, I read I read The Fountainhead. Now, for the longest time, my favorite book has been Foundation by Isaac Asimov, but I think The Fountainhead is taking the #1 spot now because it's just so good. So, The Fountainhead is about an architect named Howard Rourke. It's kind of a love story. He goes after, well, I mean, it's not too much of a spoiler, but I'm not going to talk about it. Anyways, it's a love story, and it's about an architect. And Rand has a kind of weird but really fun to read concept of love. So, like in this book, the two people definitely love each other, but they one of the people has to kind of try to destroy the other person that they love, or else like it's not love in Rand's mind. Like in Atlas Shrugged, another awesome book by Rand, the main character Dagny Taggart, the person she loves is basically trying to destroy her entire livelihood, for some good reasons. But yeah, I really like Rand's idea of love. Maybe I just need to find someone who will make my life hard. No, I don't know. But anyways, awesome book. You end up hating characters because of what they do, and then for some of them you end up pitying them at the end, and for some of them you feel sorry. Well, I guess that's kind of pity. But for some of them you really like after you hate them. It's really cool how she changes your view of characters. And I feel like I haven't explained anything that actually goes on in the book. So basically, without giving anything away, it's about being great in a society that doesn't want greatness. So that is what The Fountainhead is all about. Favorite book so far in my entire life. I'm gonna say it's #1. 10 out of 10. Obviously, it's amazing. Everyone, go read The Fountainhead. All right. After The Fountainhead, I read Super Intelligence by Nick Bostrom. So this book was very interesting. At the same time, it was not very fun to read. So this guy is kind of an alarmist to superintelligence, which is defined as something that sort of gains a strategic advantage, at which point nothing can stop it from achieving its goals. And it's like the book talks about a lot of things about superintelligence, but one of the things it talks about is trying to control it. Certain ideas of control are really cool ideas, like making an oracle AI or superintelligence, which would only be able to answer questions. Then again, there are still ways to have that run away on you. But it was very interesting. On a scale of 1 to 10 on interesting, it was a 10 on interesting. However, it was not fun to read, because most of the time, since he's kind of an alarmist, he just took a super pessimistic view of what AI would do, and was basically saying, oh yeah, we'll just get to a superintelligence with a strategic advantage, and then he'll kill us all in order to use resources more efficiently or something like that. Super interesting, super pessimistic though, so it was not very fun to read. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. Alright, after that, I read Adam by Isaac Asimov. I'm still gonna call Asimov my favorite author so far, even though I love Rand to death. Anyways, this is about subatomic particles. Oh lord, I can't even talk. I'm sorry, I'm sick. Subatomic particles like leptons, electrons, or leptons, neutrinos. Okay. So it just talks about a bunch of particles and the kind of the history about them, and problems that physicists had. Like at a certain point in time, they knew the elements between 0 and 92, with 92 being uranium. And they were trying to find the remaining elements, and they had a problem because they found more elements than they could possibly fit between 0 and 92. So that's when they came up with the concept of isotopes, which, if you don't know what that is, just read some more. I don't want to try to explain physics to people that don't care, but it was very, very interesting. I would give this a 9 out of 10. Very cool. Very cool. Alright, after that, I read Game Frame. And honestly, I don't really remember too much about what I read, because right after I read this, I read another book which went way into more depth games. All I remember is, it was fun to read, so I'll give it a 7 out of 10, I guess. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was good, but the book I read after it went into a lot more. So. All right. After that one, I read The Art of Game Design. Oh gosh, the glare. Okay. So this went into way more detail into games. And it took me a few days because it's pretty thick, but it kind of inspired me to want to design and develop some games. So that's what I think I'm going to do this summer, is develop games, hopefully with the aid of my friends. I don't know, maybe not. There are talks of what I want to do seeming like homework, so we'll see. Hopefully they want to do it as much as I do. But it goes into many concepts of game design, which is not development, by the way. It is just designing games. It doesn't have to be a video game. It could be any kind of game, board games, all sorts of games. But sorry, went into a lot of detailed game design. If you're interested in all in game design, read this book. Which kind of reminds me, I need to read a book by this Russian guy. And it was mentioned in like 3 of the books that I've read this month. So I definitely need to read that. But yeah, this is a very good book. If you're interested in game design at all, read this. Okay. After that, I read Rework. This is written by the guys that created Ruby on Rails, which is a programming thing. So if you don't know anything about programming, I'm sorry. There's no context for this. But anyways, it's about business, and it takes a contrarian view to business. Kind of recommends things that you wouldn't think that traditional business thought doesn't really agree with. So like one of the things they recommend is underperforming your competition, which you would think that to outperform your competition you'd have to overperform them or outperform them, which is not necessarily true, and they provide a good case for this. This book was probably the easiest book I read this month. It was just so well written. I just sped right through it. It was very, very well written. Very easy to digest. Very good book on business thought. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Yeah, pretty good. Alright, after that, I read probably the second best book that I've read this month. It's called Deep Work by sorry there, Cal Newport. So this talks about deep work, which is contrasted with shallow work. So deep work kind of requires thinking and requires concentration, where shallow work can be done while you're multitasking with little to no thought. And it talks about how the not really the best people, but how lots of very successful people have practiced deep work and have made it a significant part of their lives. It opens up talking about Carl Jung, who's a psychologist who competed with Freud, and how he kind of made his own retreat. He made his own house with some special office where no one was to disturb him, and he only had the key. So it talks about deep work and why it's very, very good. It does point out that not everyone should do it all the time, and there are limits to how much people can do. Like for children, about an hour of deep work is the most you're going to get. For adults, about 4 hours is the most you're going to get in a day. Excuse me. Talked about how deep work is not good for some people, like CEOs. You just simply can't really do deep work because you need to be able to multitask. You need to deal with oh gosh, lots of decisions. You gotta make lots of decisions, so you can't just set aside 4 hours of your day where no one disturbs you. But it also pointed out that lots of things that you would think need a lot of time to be distracted, such as consulting work where you need to answer emails, kind of prove that's wrong, and deep work is more beneficial. But anyways, this book kind of convinced me that the lifestyle I was currently using is not ideal, and to change it. So I'm looking forward to doing some more deep work in the future, and very, very good read. I'd give this a 10 out of 10, and I want to read some more of this guy's stuff because he's written 2 more books. So very good. Cal Newport, Deep Work, awesome. Alright, if I can survive to the end of this, this is the last book. Games People Play. Thank you, Blair. Games People Play. So this was a book on psychiatry and games that people play. There's marital games, there's sexual games, there's party games. Basically, this book convinced me I never want to be a psychiatrist, because most of psychiatry only gets to deal with the negative games that people play, because people only really come to them when they have problems. They'd point out there are positive games that people play, but yeah, a lot of negative games people play, kind of making oh my gosh, making psychiatry seem pretty unappealing. But very interesting, very interesting. Maybe I can use this someday if I'm psychoanalyzing, my friends or something like that, if I have any. Yeah, so this was the last book that I read. I actually finished it about an hour ago. But anyways, I read 11 books this month, so I'm at 31 for the total, and got 69 more to go. So I don't really know what I'm going to read next. Or well, I have 2 books I'm going to read. They're both Rand, because I love her so much. But anyways, hope you enjoyed. If you took anything away from this, it should be to read The Fountainhead, because it is a masterpiece. My God, it's so good. Alright, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys maybe before the end of next month. Cool.